Welcome to the Real Estate Power Play Podcast, your launch pad for skyrocketing success in real estate investing. I'm your host, Gabe Rodarte, alongside Mark Monroe. We're ready to bring you transformative stories, groundbreaking strategies, and the insider secrets of real estate giants. Get ready to accelerate your investment journey and become a true power player in the world of real estate. Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome to the Real Estate Power Play Podcast. My name is Gabe Rodarte, and we are excited today with my buddy, Shawn Johanson. He is just a pleasure to be with, a pleasure as far as the knowledge and wisdom that he has. He's helped me out so much in my career, and I can't wait to share him with y'all. Shawn, how are you, bro?
I'm amazing, dude. It's been a fantastic day already. Got my workout in, feeling fantastic.
Yes, fantastic. You are in sunny Florida,
I am. Yes,
right?
sir.
And you're on the West Coast, right?
Yes, I'm in
Yes.
Naples, Florida. So
Naples,
amazing to
Florida.
be in this weather. I came from Minnesota, so loving the heat. And even when it's super hot out, I still love it.
That's awesome. So let's jump into this. I'm excited to share for you to share your story and just to share you with the audience that's listening and for the listeners. Um, Guys, just to get this going, most of the stuff I do now is commercial real estate. I know a lot of us learn from residential, move from residential, single family, some degree. We do creative financing. We got into that with my partner, Mark. Those who know Mark, who's on the podcast often also with me. And we just do creative financing of all types of deal structures, um, debt takeover, notes, creating notes. And so by doing this, it's also helped us expand to the commercial space. And then once that lid was taken off for me, I'm thinking, wow, I really enjoy this. I really have a good time doing this. And I realized I had to be around people that are like-minded, but then also people that can help coach me and lead me. And it's important. And I advise everybody that don't try to find someone to mentor you that's 10 steps ahead because that's really too much. They might not want to help out someone who's on step one. And you might not get the right advice that you need for today for your life. So you would want someone who's 2 or 3 steps ahead in your life as far as your journey with real estate, and then just track along with them. Um, Shawn, for me, is many steps ahead for me, but I think I could keep pace with them to some degree in some areas. And then some areas we just become really good friends in this business. So, Shawn, I love you, man. I can't wait to hear the rest of the story that maybe I don't even know. So, let's dive in. So, here we are. We have Shawn. Let's start from like just real quick resume, what you have done, when did you get involved in commercial? You were doing flips for a while, so you resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go even farther back just to set the tone of because I know that people get on these podcasts and you're probably sitting there wherever you're at thinking, this guy's like super way ahead of me. I can't do this kind of thing. I don't have money like they have. So I think it's important to go all the way back of my origin, which was uh, I was a product of a single mother who was amazing. She worked 2 jobs to support us. And sometimes we didn't even know if we had money for rent or for food. So I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Um, but it was really important to tell that story because I want you to know that you can do it too. I don't have a college education, so you don't need that to be able to get done, but you do need education in general. Otherwise, you're either going to pay for it in mistakes or you're going to pay for it in education. So, um, quick background, I guess, for me, I started out working at GE Capital in probably, I don't know, the 2000s and ended up doing loans for pools and room additions. And that's where I got the bug for real
Wow.
estate. And I was doing about $34 million worth of loans. They're about $25,000 a piece. So you can imagine that was a lot of loans I was doing for pools and room
Wow.
additions. But the amazing thing that I saw was the values of real estate going up so quickly. This was back in the heyday of when things were just exploding. And so specifically in Arizona, there was a town called Casa Grande that I saw that people were building properties. And before it was even built, they had 60, 80, 100,000 in equity. I'm like, wow, this is like crazy. Like I'm watching flip shows, I'm watching all these things. And I turn to my wife and I'm like, hey, maybe we could do this. And Luckily, she's such a supportive person to me. She's like, yeah, let's do it. And so we started doing a little research, bought our first rental property in Casa Grande, Arizona. It was $2,500 down to build this brand new place. We're like, yes, we're doing this. Yes, we're starting. And then it was built. Sure enough, we had $80,000 in equity. And then in 2008, 2007, the market crashed. And we went from 80,000 up to all of a sudden 80,000 down, maybe even 100,000 down. And it was a really big message to us was that we need to get educated. And that's when we started looking into the Rich Dad, Poor Dad classes. If you know that book,
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki, I'm sure most of you know that if you're in
Yeah.
residential. And that's what gave us the strength to be able to go push forward and the knowledge to be able to push forward. In the end, that rental cost us about 40,000. And I think back to that, I could have bought two courses with Robert Kiyosaki, like the whole package, which was like five packages. I could have bought two of those for that mistake. So it just
Wow.
setting that tone, get educated because you're either going to pay for it in a mistake or in education. So, anyways, started flipping houses, and I probably did, I think it was probably about 15 to 20 flips over about a 5, 6 year period. And as we were going through the process, we were still doing more Rich Dad classes, and we took a commercial class. And it was really just the basics, the terminologies, cap rate, all these different things. And we were hungry for more. So we went to one of his symposiums. He was at a symposium. A great thing is I actually got to meet Robert Kiyosaki, so I have a nice picture of with him. So that was amazing. But I actually met my current mentor, Scott Scheel from the Commercial Academy, and it was off to the races after that. We went through the classes and um, bought our first commercial property in 2012. And we've done about 19 properties since then in all asset classes within commercial real estate.
Yeah, that's awesome. So 2012, and you've done quite a bit. When we say 19 in commercial, that means something different. This isn't 19 houses. This isn't 19 flips. This is 19 pretty substantial portfolio. I mean, it's not a bunch of small 2,000 square foot, buildings. These are decent sized buildings. And in commercial, we use a lot of square footage terms, where, in the housing, we might not say that. You talk more about the ARV terms of this is what the value of a property is. And commercial, it's really interesting. What is a way that maybe, and just to kind of go off a rabbit trail a little bit, for those who are listening, that for what's a good segue explanation on how you perceive commercial now compared to then? Like, is it more of like a, and this is the technical side. We're not talking legacy or anything. I'm just saying, like, as far as like square footage size and everything else, are you just when you look at commercial, do you look at it as more as like an NOI cap rate, a different type of value, or do you look at value add style? And I'm not saying you personally, but just to help out people of who want to do more commercial and they're just coming, they just finished their fifth flip and they're like, I think I like commercial.
Hmm. Yeah, good question. I think, in my opinion, and what we've been taught is value add is what you have to do. I mean, you could go and buy at top of the market and speculate, but that's what happens, or that's what happened to me with that Arizona property. So it's not the best route. Hope is not a strategy. I think maybe Ray Dalio or Warren Buffett said that recently. And it's just one of those things of you buy something that you can go in and fix and flip or fix and cash flow, have a plan or two plans, just like flipping properties. You got to have more than one option because you don't know what the market's going to happen. So when you're looking at it on a flip, you might look at it, how can I flip this out? How much money will I make? And if I can't do that, can I rent this thing out? And what market am I going to? We want to have a broad market of buyers for that property or renters. And I think it's very similar in commercial. We want to look at like what's our strategy? Are we buying it for cash flow or are we buying it for a quick hit for money? And me personally, when I first started, I didn't have very much money. We were flipping, but my net worth was probably like 100 grand, maybe 200 grand at that point because I kept reinvesting everything. And So we needed to get cash. And so for me, it was easier to just kind of flip these shopping centers per se and get big chunks of money. Now, when we do flipping in commercial, it's not like the other where residential where you can do it in like 90 days. This takes like 18, 24 months, sometimes 36 months. But they're bigger pops. You're popping $1 million versus, you know, 25, 30, or 50,000.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's a good way to go into, and for those who are listening, um, to me, I'm writing down the notes right now, and it's a good way to put it. Hope is not a strategy. And I think that sometimes we're hopeful, and that's good to be
Yes.
hopeful on that this is a good industry for you and this is something that you want to do. Um, but as far as the strategy on exit, hoping in that the market's going to go up or that we can just sell it for this and buy high and sell high, probably not a good idea. Um, so for those who want to dig in a little deeper, some of the notes that we had down was just looking at your commercial real estate and what you're doing, um, and more of the high level of how you see commercial and your journey personally. And I think this is the key thing. This is really the key thing why I wanted you on the podcast and wanted to get you on because you have a way of really personalizing life, personalizing the journey, personalizing business. And if you can run a commercial business and you can operate 19 buildings, whether you sold them or didn't, the whole journey through them, you really can run a business. You got the OpEx, you have the team, you have employees, you have a P&L reports. It's basically running a business when you get to the commercial side. I think a lot of people get nervous on that, by the way. It's not just acquiring a property at that point. Um, but what did your journey look like personally? And then what is happening right now that you're excited about that you're just really sharing with a lot of people?
Yeah, I mean, thinking back at it, it was a lot of struggle, and not in the way that you normally think of struggling, like lifting something heavy. It was struggling with my mindset. There's coming from that background of being poor and not having a college education. I was battling every day with, can I do this? The same things that going over my head. Am I over my head? Am I an imposter in this big world of commercial or residential or whatever it was that I was? How can I do this? I don't have the skills to swing a hammer. I don't have the skills to do accounting. I don't have all these things. And I think what I've learned over my lifetime, the last 50 years, is that the amazing thing is you are good at something. It might be one thing, it might be two things. There's a lot of things you're not good at, and most people aren't good at a lot of things, and it's okay because there's somebody else in the world that is amazing at it, just like you're amazing at whatever it is that you are good at. And for me personally, I'm very good at bringing people together, managing them, managing their emotions, and I had to rely on that strength to bring the right people around me to be able to make this successful. And so, whether that's an amazing contractor or a great broker or real estate agent, I was building relationships. And by building those relationships, they wanted to work for me and they wanted to be successful in their business, but also they wanted to help me be successful. And when you have amazing people around you that want you to succeed and want to go along with that ride, it's almost impossible to be not successful.
How did you get that buy-in? I think that a lot of people, I think you hit something really good because I've dealt with that too, and we probably talked about it multiple times. Where some people look at it from a place of how do I get people to buy into me? I know I have a vision. I know I have an idea. I got to make money. I want to build something. I want to, and we're talking about commercial real estate. I want to acquire. I want to, like, this is my goals. How do you get someone else to buy into your goals as you buy into them? Because I think I don't mind at all. I actually really enjoy seeing my contractors and other people level up.
Yep.
Um, I think it's really cool to see. I like to see the light in their eyes and whenever they get the sparkle. But how do you get them to buy into you? Like, what was your process and what would you do different?
I think you have to be excited about what you're doing. And in order to do that, I think you have to have a strong enough why. I've been talking about this a lot lately is If you don't have the strong enough why in your life, what are you going to do? How are you going to make it to the next level if you don't have that thing that's going to push you? For me, it was my mom. I wanted to make a better life for her because I knew she struggled most of her life. So that's what pushed me to keep searching for whatever it was that I was good at and that I could do to make money to help her out. And then it became my family. I got a wife and kids, and I wanted to give them the life that I didn't have as a kid. And I don't take anything away from what my mom did because she's amazing. But I think as parents, we always want our kids to be better. And so I think I know it is. You have to have a strong enough why. And I could not fail because I needed to do that. And when you can't fail because in your head you have to hit that goal or you have to do it, people are going to see that excitement in you. When you're super, think about it like when you find something new and it just excites you, you want to tell everybody about it. And when you want to tell everybody and you're super excited, people are drawn to that. And I think that's what's been my number one success is that whether it's commercial real estate or residential or Tony Robbins is a big part of my life. These are things that have really impacted my life. And because I believe in it so much that I can put that energy out there, that light that draws people to me that want to come along with the ride. And not from an egotistical standpoint, but from a standpoint of they're drawn to me because they can see the path forward through my excitement because I'm going to push and push and push until I reach that goal.
Okay. So how did you share that?
How do I share that light and that?
Yeah, how are you sharing that? I know this is, I mean, I'm resonating with this. Ring, ring, you're talking to a broker, you're talking to a seller, you're talking to a contractor, you're talking to a lender. I have a buddy of ours that we both know. It's like, how many lenders do you think you've talked to just to get the financing? That's this year. He's about to acquire another storage facility. And he goes, man, I've probably talked to 50 lenders. He's like, I know the language so much, I could find out within 2 minutes now what the conversation is. And it sounds like what we do is we want to look around for somebody to find to who's willing to buy into you, to buy into your vision of what you're doing. How did you share that before? How did you do it? What would you do differently in there as to helping someone else who's just now listening and say, hey, look, if you're just new, you really not just need to have a why, but you need to have a way to explain that. What would you advise?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to the why again. Once you have that strong enough why, it's going to push you to call 50 different people. I kind of equate it to like dating. You typically don't find one girl and then marry her and for the rest of your life. You go and you try and date and you try and ask a girl out and they turn you down over and over and over until you find that right girl who buys into you and is excited about you. And I think it's the same thing with brokers, bankers, and all these things. You're going to call these people and they're going to shoot you down because they're just not gelling with you. They're not buying into your vision, and that's okay. You
Yeah.
don't need everybody to buy into your vision. You just need one person or maybe two people to buy into your vision. But you got to find those. And when you give up after five, if you did that when you were trying to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you'd be alone for the rest of your life. And what's the point of life if you don't have somebody who loves you? So I think it's really of just keep going and the why gets you there and keeps you going. But when you're telling your vision and you're excited about it, somebody's going to grasp onto it and be like, I like this kid or I like this girl. I like these people that are giving this vision and putting forth and I want to go along the ride with them. And you'll know who that is because they'll start wanting to help you.
I I feel like our marketplace is in a as far as the dynamic of people, you have a younger guy who loves the business, maybe his first career, maybe has, learned other things and got into real estate. You have the middle-aged guy and you have someone who's more seasoned, or seasoned in life. Tony would call it the winter season.
Yeah.
Um, I have been resonating mainly because of my age and my life and my family and the kids and everything we do. I resonate a ton with this middle age group of people. And I see many, especially in this market. This is in 2025. I think out of 2024, really tough season for a lot of people and saying, you know what, I really need to repivot. I want to re-engineer my life. I'm 40, I'm 35. I can see the future. But I'm no longer young. I got enough life experience. I know what I don't want to do. I know what I want to do. Maybe 45-year-old, maybe 50-year-old. And I know we both know many of these type of people. And I want to go towards this audience of going, what would you advise them? Because I know that if you're younger, it's really easy to pour into a younger person. I mean, yeah, I came from youth and youth ministry and all stuff like that. It's easy to pour into them because you kind of see that sparkle and they're always willing to learn. But you have someone who's been through a couple of bumps and bruises, and that is something that has been, if anything, kind of your niche. I mean, you're able to, I've seen you do it with people where you're able to polish off someone and dust off and go, "Hey, look, there's still light in you. Let me help you with this glimmer of light. If you have hope, I can help you." What is something that has been pivotal for you to start seeing, "Hey, if I'm going through this, I know other people had to."
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the pinnacle of where I'm at right now is using my 50 years of experience to help others and to think about all the limiting beliefs that I had, and even up until last year of thinking about the limiting beliefs. And that comes to, somebody who is 49 years old, even in 47, still having limiting beliefs. And I think when you're older, society tells you all these things of you're too old. People aren't going to take you seriously, which is funny because when you're young, you think the same thing too.
Right.
You're like, I'm too young. I can't do that. But it's all just a bunch of limiting beliefs up here. It's what people have told you forever, or what the media has said, or whatever it is. But the thing is at 50 years old, I believe with technology, I'm going to live till 120 or 140. And I'm putting that in my head now because that's what I'm going to do. If you tell yourself you're going to die in a year, or the doctor tells you, a lot of times you die in a year. So start telling yourself the right things. And being 50, like I'm starting a new chapter in my life right now. I'm still doing commercial real estate and I love that part of it. But what I'm doing now is I found this love for being able to give people my experiences and my failures, but the tools that I use to get out of those failures so that they can be successful. And for older people, I would just say that commercial real estate's a great place, or even residential, if that's what you're getting into. Just get started. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're 60 years old, you can still do this. There's people that come through our um, mastermind every day that are in their 50s, 60s. There's some that are 30s, there's some that are 20s. So it's all walks of life. And I've seen them start all over at 50 and make it to the next level. So it's really all up in here. You got to change your mindset of, I can't do that because that's what society told you. But
Right.
that's not true. You can do this. And I've seen it happen, including myself.
You mentioned something about being miserable going through some of this process. What was the most miserable part as you went through this? Because I know we hear the story of, hey, man, enjoy the journey while you're doing it, right? And it's one of the things that you say after, right? Like, oh man, you hear so many people enjoy your kids while you can. You're like, oh, I'm gonna plan on having my kids for a long time, so I want to always enjoy them.
Yeah.
So, what was the thing that was like, if this was my point of miserable life, was it like, oh, just go there and then we'll kind of dig in?
I'll preface this by saying, like, look, I've had a good life. I don't like to go back and say that I didn't have a good life because that's a bad mindset. But there were some dark days. I mean, there's the limiting beliefs that told me I wasn't good enough, like we talked about before, all up until, about a year ago. And sometimes even today, sometimes I get in rooms that I feel that way. And so it's a constant battle of trying to make sure that you're preparing your mind for these attacks that you're getting. But to answer your question is most of my life I was focused on money because I saw my mom struggle and I saw her unhappy. So I thought, oh, I equate not having money with being unhappy. And so, although that is what drove me, and I don't regret my journey, that's how I got to where I'm at. It caused me to have a certain mindset of I have to make enough money to be successful, to be loved, to feel needed, and it made me miserable. I got to a point where I hit the pinnacle of what I thought success was, and there was no more goals for me to do within that realm. And I ended up being more miserable than ever at that point, where I thought that was going to be my happiest day ever. And that threw me into a tailspin of like, well, what's next? I thought I planned my whole life around making money. And when I made it, I was going to be so happy. And then I was more miserable than ever. I had bad anxiety, which I'd never had in my life. I always prided myself on working tough jobs and
Pushing through,
pushing through
grinding.
it and
Yeah.
burying that crap down. I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah.
You just keep burying it. That, especially gentlemen, I'm talking to you, we keep burying the things down because that's what society tells us that we need to do. We can't talk about our feelings. We can't cry. We need to be a man. And I'm here to tell you that's a bunch of BS. It's not that pushing it down. All it does is it brings it back up in your 40s and 50s. And that's what we call a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And that's what I had. I got such bad anxiety that I even passed out on a plane. It was
Wow.
crazy. And I was so miserable inside my head and causing it to keep spiral. I had a point where my face would get numb. Um, and I thought I was having Bell's palsy. I thought I was having all these different things. I was going to all these different doctors because I couldn't figure out I was having dizziness. And all this was because of the anxiety and everything that I had built up and pushed down for so long just came through and hit me all at once. Because it's uh, like a balloon. You keep blowing the balloon and keep pushing air in there, pushing your feelings down. Eventually, it's going to pop. And so it was something that I don't love like thinking about anymore because I'm past that, or at least getting past it. But I think it's important to tell these young people that are coming up that money is a tool, just like a screwdriver. You use it for to buy your time. You don't use it to buy happiness. You don't use it to buy things that are going to make you happy for 6 hours, 6 days, or maybe a month, and then you forget about it. It's to buy your time so you can do things with the people you love and you care about. Happiness is being with the people you care about. And it took me 50 years to figure that out. And I don't want you to figure that out later. And even you 50-year-olds or 45-year-olds, stop doing it because all it's doing is going to make you crazy and it's going to make you unhappy.
For those who are listening, this is gold, by the way. I mean, I'm energized, but this is deep gold. Um, when you say hit the pinnacle of your own life, I find it interesting that everyone has their own pinnacle. You had a pinnacle of, hey, I could buy back my time. I sold some assets. I bought some more assets. I have some liquidity. I have, between you and your wife, you guys have done really well in life. Um, Set that I would say, maybe never have to work again. Like if you don't really want to, if you didn't have any more need to do it. Um, so just to kind of give everyone that framework, like he's built out a very successful company in a business, and you hit this point and I think it's really interesting because I think that we kind of have to watch what mountain we're climbing up, right? Which one we're going around. And I tell this to some of my team sometimes, Shawn, of like, hey, just be alert that when you get up to that mountain, and if you're a leader, there's other people following you at the same time. And if you turn around and you go, crap, I went up the wrong one. You know, you got to go back down. You got to, wiggle around and go, okay, guys, I'm going to do some adjustments. This is where we're supposed to be on that mountain. Uh, I think, and that's the joyful mountain. And this one's, like you can have a financial mountain that's understandable, and I get it. But I think that we run into that a lot. And I think society and the way that we live and what the business that we have runs into this a ton. Um, Yet we still want to be stretched. We still have to have a why. And that's
Hmm.
something that you've been talking about a lot lately. And one of the things that you mentioned in this call and other calls that we've had before is really this brightness that you have. And just really, like I was sharing, you have a knack of going, hey, look, there's something a little bit more in you. I've seen you do it with many other people. Just had a great privilege of you just bringing that out in others. Yeah, you have also you're I wouldn't consider you like this freaking crazy level 10 all the time, high energy, let's go, Gabe. You're not that type of coach. You're very pragmatic, direct. You've coached me a couple times very directly going, okay, that's not important. This is important. What about this? Let's go here. And that's beneficial because I don't see a lot of that in the marketplace that we have. So I'm going there as saying this idea of like being the light, being the brightness in your environment, whatever you're doing, whether that's business, whether that's family. Share a little bit of that, how you have integrated that with your commercial business now.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my tagline that I've put for my life is be the light. And what I mean by that is try to live every day of giving back and not to a point where you're like people think, oh, I got to keep giving, 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 and I'm a people pleaser or I'm going to give everything and not take care of myself. When I say bring the light, it's first of all taking care of yourself, your mental self, your physical self. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, which most people won't do, you'll do more for others than you'll do for yourself.
Right.
So it starts here. Do the work on you. If you're having a bad marriage or your marriage isn't great, start with you. Figure out what's going on with you and how can you be a better person for both your wife and your kids. So start with your family. Start with you. Start then go to your wife. Your wife needs to be number two. If you don't take care of your wife, you're gonna make all this money and this happened to me. Like focus, money, 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 money. I'm gonna drive towards this goal, drive towards this goal. And then we got to the end of that where I got to this pinnacle and all I had done was make a lot of money and but not paid attention to my marriage. And my marriage was okay, and we were happy with each other. We were definitely not anywhere near divorce or anything, but we had lost some of the passion because what I had learned was that during that time, because my wife is so alpha and business driven and all that too, I started competing against her. And Tony talks a lot about this, where he does this exercise where you put your fist up against somebody else's and you just push a little bit, and natural resistance, they try and push back. And his point about doing that is when you try to push somebody and they're pushing back, you're not going to get the results that you want. You need to dance with them. And I wasn't dancing with my wife. I was trying to push against her and compete against her. And so we weren't on the same page. And so what I say is money is a tool. Your family is number one. So treat your wife number one. And it's so easy to go get your love and your connection from your job, which is what I was doing number one. Then two, I was getting my love from my kids because they're going to love you unconditionally, at least until they're teenagers. And then you're going to maybe put your wife fourth or fifth or sixth, and then yourself way after that. So we need to reverse that angle. And to be the light is what I've found is that as I'm doing this and working on myself and learning all these things, that I'm giving back in a way for me that works for me of telling people my mistakes and the tools that I've used to get out of that. So I'm trying to be the light by contributing to others and focusing on love and connection and contribution first in my life. I still need certainty. I still need significance. I still need all these other emotions. But when you put those first, you're not going to be happy. What you need to do is put love and connection, like we're doing today. We're
Mhm.
connecting. I'm connecting with you through the screen
Right.
and making friendships and enjoying those. Stopping, I know they say stop and smell the roses, but it's true. Enjoy those moments with your kids. Don't just see them, enjoy them. Same with your wife. When you go on a walk on the beach or a walk in your park, enjoy that moment instead of just thinking about what you have to do for the day. And when you do those things, the light comes out of you. And I think that's what, Gabe, you're talking about is that I have this newfound joy inside of me that I can now contribute to others and be a light to them of when they're in their darkest place, I can tell them I was there too, but here's the tools to get out of it and be giving in anything that you do. Just treat your customers like their family, whether it's your clients, whether it's your mother-in-law. You know, they are family, obviously your mother-in-law, but you got to treat them like family. And when you treat them like family, they're going to want to do everything for you.
Right. I think one of the gifts that you've shared with me and many others, and this is something that hopefully the listeners can really resonate, is you really only need maybe 10 people in your life that can really believe in you, um, want to do business with you. This is regarding the business world, that you can really do deals with, and you create that momentum. You don't need that many. I call it success. If you get all your answers done in 2 phone calls, that's pretty successful. The guy who has to make 50 phone calls to find the lender, that's a grind. That's good. That's good work. You're going to learn a lot. You need to do it because you got to close on a deal and close on a property. That's a little different, but it makes a big difference when you can make a phone call and say, "Hey, I need an engineer for this," or I know someone in that city. I'm over here in this city for the weekend. I need these certain things that I've seen. Um, I see, Shawn, that not many people can bear that light that you're talking about. Be positive, be energized, be ready to roll, have someone believe in your vision of what you're doing because it's a big enough why, and sustain the continual going. The goal is to be able to have someone that I could connect with. And many people, if it takes hypothetically 50 phone calls to find just one, right? So how many phone calls is it going to take to find the 10 that are going to be around your life? And then after you do that, you need to keep doing the rest of the work. Okay, now that you don't rest on your laurels, now it's time to get really cranky. Now you have a tribe of people to go around you or to be around them to be a support. Hey, I've done another deal with you. I know you're looking out for me. Hey, we got to have a conversation, heart to heart. This is what's going on, straight facts. This is what's going on. I'm seeing some flaws. Yeah, thanks a lot for telling me. If you didn't tell me, I wouldn't even know. I appreciate it. I'm going to receive it from you. I think that that's limited. I think that there's many people that just don't want to show that aspect of the business that, but I don't know many guys like what you're describing or women who have built a successful business without that core, without a core of people, without a good character, without a track history of going, hey, this group of people, they do good business. There's a lot of longevity there. There's a lot of growth there long term. And I'm excited to do that in my own life. I see you doing that and sharing, hey, let me show you a different way to go about doing this type of business and what you want to do. So I've learned a ton through that. Um, what would you say now is your group of people? Are you in a place where you're like, I have my tribe pretty good now, and now I want to start helping other people develop theirs?
Yeah, I mean, when you become 50 years old and you do what we do, you build a pretty good network of people over the years. I mean, I kind of go back to the analogy of the dating part, but think about it from a friendship part. How many friends have you had? A lot of people don't have friends from high school anymore if they're older. Maybe sometimes they do, but something came to my mind when you were talking about it, and I think I need to address this, is that I'm a fairly outgoing person, but I know there's other people out there that are like, I can't do this. Like, I'm too quiet. I'm too this. I don't want to be out in front of everybody. Well, the great thing is you don't have to. You just find somebody like me or Gabe or somebody else who is the opposite of you and you partner with them. You find somebody that you like, that you have the same values. That's the important thing. Have the same values because you don't want to get into a bad partnership, but you find somebody that can help you along the way. You don't have to do this alone. So many people go out there and like, I got to build this myself. I'm not going to ask people for help because I think that's what they teach us in school is like, if you ask for help, you're cheating. If I ask you, Gabe, to an answer on the test because I don't know it, it's cheating. Well, in the
Right.
real world, it's not cheating. Go find that person that's going to help you. Whether if you're not smart about numbers or you're not good at, like me, I have dyslexia. Like I'm not very good at writing stuff. I'm not good at reading. I listen to a lot of audibles, but I use the technology to help me in the ways that I can. And the things that I can't do, I go hire somebody else to do it. So don't do it alone. And going back to your question is you are the 5 people you hang out with. And so when you're choosing your friends, they have to have those values. And once you build that around you, if you have 5 or 10 friends, like you had talked about, or people around you that are going to be contractors, I treat them like friends. They're not just my contractor. These are people that I care about because we've grown together because we're doing deal after deal after deal. I don't want to have the one deal-itis where I'm going to use that one contractor once and then I'm going to move on to the next one. That doesn't get you longevity. It doesn't give you easy because then you're out searching for another one the next time. And then you're searching for another one the next time. You don't want that. Like Gabe said, you want to be able to just call that person up. You know they're the expert. You know them in and out, and they have so much invested in your success because they know if they help you, you're going to make them successful. And it's a partnership instead of just they're my contractor, they're my accountant. Make them feel like they're family.
Absolutely. And this goes back to from, it doesn't matter, residential, commercial, all of it the same. I don't refer my contractors out anymore. The core guys, I can't do. And the reason why is I have shared so many good people's names and them trusting my name. And two people will trust my name and put my character that I'm willing to put on the line, and I'll show up and I'll help do whatever it needs to be to make it right. But not everyone is like that. And so they'll trust one person. Gabe, I thought this guy was a good stand-up guy, and he ended up screwing me over $50,000. I need to pay this. I got to pay that. We don't. $50,000 a lot to a group like us. And I'm like, man, totally understand. And now I'm at a place where some of these core guys I built so much relationship with, I wouldn't want them to have that, ever have that thing again. I trust them so much. They trust me so much. There's been times that I've been in a tight spot going, man, this is a tight spot. We got to figure a way out of this. And Gabe, I got it. Let me work out a couple things. I got some guys. I got some other stuff. Maybe we can ship some guys over there if we need to. We'll move some guys off of this one to do that. And I'm like, really? Yeah, I'll do that, man. I'll do that. You've always been there for me. Here you go. I know that takes track history. I know that takes time. I also know that just by being some of the events that I've gone through, I meet guys, Shawn, that they don't see it that way. They just, oh yeah, I ran through another guy. I ran through another contractor. I ran through another lender or broker or someone else. Um, I think, like you said, you've seen it over time. And what is something that you would say, like you said, you're 50, you've been around, you've done this for a business for a while. What would something that you'd say that really resonates with the group that we have here on building those type of relationships? Is there a core thing that you look at now? I mean, you and I, we've known each other for maybe 3 years, maybe four now. But is there something that you see now? You're going, I want to sew into that guy. I want to sew into this lady over here. I need to help dust this person off over here. What is something that you like pick up on now pretty quick?
I think there's just something within people when they're ready to be the true self that they are and not the imposter. I like to think about that. Like I used to be an imposter before, you think about imposter syndrome and all that. And I thought I was having that, but the imposter syndrome was the person that I was before who was being this shy, you know, couldn't do it mentality. The person I am today is the person I was meant to being the one who is out there in front of people trying to make a change in the life. And I think when I see people, at least in my life, it's people who I resonate with. You can just feel the energy when you're around them, and you can tell that even if they're down, maybe they're at a 5 and you're at a 9 or an 8, but you can feel that energy that they want to be at that.
Yeah.
And it's just a character and it's a values that connect with your values. And it's hard to just go up to somebody and say, "Hey, Gabe, what's your values?" You
Yeah.
don't say those
Yeah.
things, but as you're talking to them, you can tell
Yeah.
what their values are. And I think in your conversation before, I think why people run through contractors and run through people and don't stop to think about building that relationship, it's because they're only focused on the money and they can't let anybody else get in their way because they have to make this money because they believe it's going to bring them happiness or success or love. We all want love and to feel needed. That's the number one thing that we want. So they believe that money is going to get them there, and that's why they do it. Now, me personally, I grew up with helping people out. That's what my mom did all the time. So it was ingrained in me. So it was a little easier for me. But the whole point of it is getting your mindset away from everything has to be about money. And I want you to make money. I want you to kill it. I want you to buy back all of your time so you can go spend as much time you want with all the people you love. You can get that Ferrari if that's what makes you happy, if that's the thing you've wanted every day. I want you to do that, but I don't want you to focus on the money so much because then you'll be miserable at the end. Use the money to get the time and then use everything else, the relationships, to be happy. And that's all you need in life is happiness, the people around you. Then if you lose everything, you're not afraid about losing everything because you have the knowledge from all these years of doing it. You can always build it back. It doesn't matter. And the people that love you, if you have those core 5 or 10 people, they're going to stick with you versus the guy that
Right.
runs through the contractors. They're not going to
Right.
stick with you. They're going to go off to the next person. So be the light and create those relationships, get those 5 good friends, get those 10 good contractors that are going to be with you for the long term. And they might switch out here and there. It's fine. People grow, they things happen, but somebody will bring you a new one. And when you're being the light, opportunities come to you.
That's so good. That's something that I wanted to end with is the opportunities that come to you. Actually, it was a conversation Lou and I had yesterday and today. We're talking about really putting ourselves in a place within our community and the people we know, our friends, you name it, the network of people. Say, hey, what is something that you can do today just to be someone to just say, hey, an opportunity comes to you. And one of the things that we came up with is being grateful for the opportunities that already come. That's one. And then also look at the things that have been coincidental in your life over just 1 week, right? And so, how we have been valuing things lately, Shawn, and this definitely has to do with commercial so much, is that now I'll end my Sunday or start my Sunday morning writing things out, and I'll write down, okay, what was the most coincidental things that happened in this last week, just 1 week. You know what? I bumped into Shawn. We had a great conversation. That led to something else. That was coincidence, or that deal that I called on was a total flop, but it led to a conversation, and now I'm underwriting 3 other properties. That's consequent. That's a coincidence. And I think that not only does it birth hope, but also births excitement that you are in your lane and that you're doing what you're doing. And so, or you're doing what you're really good at. You're in that, you're running your race. And that's something I talk about a lot. Um, so being that, um, just ending it all out. And I'm just, dude, I'm so glad to be on this with you because this is deep stuff, by the way. This is stuff that we don't really talk about on this podcast very often. We don't talk about the navigating through those things. Commercial real estate, just really wrapping up, what is something that you would say right now for someone to start putting into practice, knowing the market that we're in, knowing what we're doing, knowing that you have to build a network of people? What is something that you would advise a younger Shawn or someone who's newer getting into the business going, hey, look, what is a takeaway that you would advise now?
I think it's being clear of what you want. What is your outcome that you want? Because once you have a clear outcome, then you can take action and you can have outcomes and not do anything with it. How many times have I done that? Had this really good outcome. I want to do this, this, and this. I want to lose weight or whatever it is. And then Monday comes and you don't start that diet. So have a powerful why with that outcome. Why do you want to have that outcome? And that's what's going to push you through. And then take massive action at it. So whatever it is that you want to do, you got to take massive action. And you don't have to have the whole plan
Why do
planned
you have
out
to
to be able
take
to get there.
massive action? What
Say
is
that
what
again.
is this what is this thing where massive action why your why is it's almost, and I hear this all the time, and I just kind of want to go there because I feel like making the extra call. I was sharing with someone yesterday, actually a good friend of ours. Hey, I called the seller. Yeah, and called this other seller and I did this robo dialer and I'm doing this other stuff. I was like, Dad, did you call the seller twice? No. I said, well, call the seller twice. Oh, that's a good point. I was like, let them know that you're looking at buying the property. Just go call them twice, twice in a row, twice in a day. Call them 3 times in a day. Um, that to me is massive action. What would you equate to massive action? Because we say that so much. I don't want it to just go away. I think that's probably one of the key nuggets of what would Shawn Johansson say? Hey, now you have your goal. Now you have your why. You have something that's worth fighting for. Is that time? Is that going, I will never be unfocused during these 5 hours of the day? Like, what does that look like?
I think best example I can think about is when I first went to Tony Robbins' event. I was 240 pounds and had tried
Wow.
a bunch of diets and never worked. I kept going up and down, yo-yo up and down. And while I was at the event, I had never been to one of these events. I kind of knew who Tony Robbins was, but not a lot. And as I was going through the event, he does this exercise where he's like, if you keep doing whatever it is that you don't or that you hate about that you do, whether it's, diets up and down or that you're overweight, what is that going to look like in 2 years from now? What's it going to look like in 5 years from now? What's the worst case scenario? If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to do in 10 years. What are you going to look like in that? What's going to happen to you? And for me, the vision that I came up with was my wife and my kids standing over my casket saying, Daddy, why didn't you change?
Mm,
That was my why right there. That visual of why I had to make the change because I made a promise because I didn't have a dad growing up that I was going to be there for my kids no matter what. And I was failing at that promise because I was on the pathway to an early death. So that vision was my why. Then I needed to take massive action. And so that massive action for me was the next day when I got home, I went to my local gym and I talked to somebody about getting a personal trainer. And
wow.
I started with that personal trainer that week. That is what I say is massive action. You don't wait. And if it's something you can do right away, get on that call. As soon as you make that decision, get on that call. It doesn't have to be
Urgent.
perfect.
It's urgent. Just go.
Yes. And people get caught up in the perfection. They
Yeah.
want to make this big plan. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do 10 years from now. I gotta figure out all these things. And it's like, no, just figure out something and do something. Because once you put that into action, it'll snowball and those things will come to fruition. Otherwise, you just sit and keep planning and then you stick it on the shelf and you do nothing.
That's good. That's what I want to hear. That's a good takeaway. Guys, how do we get in touch with you? How do we follow this journey that you're on and then what you're helping other people to do? Is there a way for people to connect with you or just watch what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm got a limiting belief. I'm going to share this with everybody that I haven't been out on social media a lot, but I'm going to put it out here right now that I'm going to try and put more stuff out on social media. So I'm going to be doing some stuff on Instagram at Shawn Johanson, ShawnJohanson. And then I'm going to do some LinkedIn stuff there. And then also I'm going to start a YouTube channel called Shine the Light. Um,
Nice.
or Shine Your Light. I haven't figured out which one that's going to be yet, but it'll be on my social. So I'd love to help you out in any way that I can. My goal in life is to put all of my failures out there and my tools that I've learned so that you don't have to go through that in your life as long as I did.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Guys, connect with us, share, like, post. If you want to connect with me, you know how to get a hold of me. Just DM me, message me. We answer those things. We answer our comments. Love you guys. We'll see you later. Peace.